Our scripture reading this morning is from the Gospel according to John. Back to the Gospel of John. Beginning with where we're going to read chapter 5, beginning verse 18, all the way to verse 47. John chapter 5, beginning with verse 18, all the way to verse 47, which is the end of the chapter. John chapter 5, beginning verse 18. I'm reading from the New American Standard Version, and you can read silently in your version. Reading now. For this reason, therefore, the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because he not only was breaking the Sabbath, but also was calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. Therefore Jesus answered and was saying to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself, unless it is something he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, these things the Son also does in like manner. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that he himself is doing. And the Father will show him greater works than this, so that you will marvel. For just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son also gives life to whom he wishes. For not even the Father judges anyone, but he has given all judgment to the Son, so that all will honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life, and does not come into judgment, but has passed out of death into life. Truly, truly, I say to you, an hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. For just as the Father has life in himself, even so he gave to the Son also to have life in himself. And he gave him authority to execute judgment, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming in which all who are in the tombs will hear his voice and will come forth. Those who did the good deeds to a resurrection of life, those who committed evil deeds to the resurrection of judgment. I can do nothing on my own initiative. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I do not seek my own will, but the will of him who sent me. If anyone testify about myself, my testimony is not true. Therefore is another who testifies of me, and I know that the testimony which he gives about me is true. You have sent to John, and he has testified to the truth. But the testimony which I receive is not from man, but I say these things so that you may be saved. He was the lamp that was burning and was shining, and you were willing to rejoice for a while in his light. But the testimony which I have is greater than the testimony of John. For the works which the Father has given me to accomplish, the very works that I do, testify about me that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me, he has testified of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his form. You do not have his word abiding in you, for you do not believe him whom he sent me. You search the scriptures because you think that in them you have eternal life. It is this that testifies of me. And you are unwilling to come to me so that you may have life. I do not receive glory from men, but I know you, that you do not have the love of God in yourselves. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, you will receive him. How can you believe when you receive glory from one another and you do not seek the glory that is from the one and only God? Do not think that I will accuse you before the Father. The one who accuses you is Moses, in whom you have set your hope. For if you believe Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words? May the Lord bless the reading of his word. Please be seated. Let's pray. Father, we thank you again for the time you've given us to be here in this house of worship. We pray that your Spirit will move among us and speak to us personally in our hearts and our minds. I pray for this poor man that you may give him the word of thy Spirit. May you come down to empower him. For apart from you, he can do nothing. Hiding behind Jesus, that we may see Jesus only and him alone, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Going back to the Gospel of John, we have read that, said back in the past, that these 4 Gospels were written for specific audience. It's much like when you write a letter, you're not writing to the whole people in your village or everybody in your family. There's a specific people or person that you would like or addressing your letter. And so the Gospels were written also for specific people. Of course, we know already that Matthew was written for the Jews, and that Mark was written for the Romans, and Luke was written for the Greeks, and you all know what the Gospel of John was written for, right? It's written for who? The Gospel of John.
Right.
All right, it's written for the whole world. All right, so that it doesn't matter whether you're Ilocano, Bisayan, or which part of the globe you live, this gospel is for you. And that's why we commission missionaries to go all over the world to preach this good news, because it's for everyone. So the main thing about the gospel is that it's all about Jesus. Matthew, he is the what? The King of the Jews. Mark rather, he is the servant of God. And Luke, Jesus is the Son of Man. And now Jesus, in the Gospel of John, is the Son of God. The purpose of John's Gospel is for the whole world to know who this Jesus is that we celebrate. It's not too long ago we had Christmas. Now it's getting ready for Christmas again. Who is this Jesus that we celebrate on Christmas? A lot of people don't know who he is. And I hope everybody who walks in that door know who Jesus is. And in our Sunday school we emphasize that the primary importance. And there's something important about claims. I attended, not really attended, but tried to pick up my 2 grandsons in our youth fellowship. Once in a while, it's good to visit these activities that your church have. So I went there a little bit early so I could catch them before they finish. And when I got there, they're already done. They told me they just finished. But anyway, somebody suggested, maybe Pastor Sir should ask him. And I was hoping it's related to the lesson. But one courageous, bold young man asked a question. And it's something to do with the Philippines, not the Bible. But still, it's a good question. You can always learn from everybody. And but he did not ask me why the Philippines was named the Philippines and not Japan. Why do you think the Philippines is named Philippines? You know what? You should ask that young man later on, because he is very knowledgeable. Where's that young man? What's his name?
Iman.
Iman. Is Iman here?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Iman. Oh my goodness, there's Iman. He's a good boy. Good. I should call him good man. Yeah, he knows a lot. But anyway, I'm glad he didn't ask me about why the Philippines is named Philippines and not something else. Well, you know, the Philippines was named because when the Spaniards arrived in the Philippines, they claimed that island belonging to King Philip of Spain. Because it was King Philip who sent and financed their expedition to discover the whole world. And so when they arrived there, but before they named it the Philippines, they were thinking of another name. You know that? Before Philip? Oh, they arrived there because of a certain saint. And there was they were thinking of giving the Philippines an island of San Lazarus or something like that. But they decided to be named under Philip. You see, they claim the Philippines as belonging to Spain. Now that's a big debate going on there because you cannot claim something that somebody already owned. You know that? But they claim it anyway. But then when you make a claim, you better prove your claim. A lot of people make claims, but it's easy to make a claim, but it's another thing to prove your claim. Is there something that you're claiming right now? Well, you have to show proof for that claim. Someday, you and I will stand before God. And when you stand before God someday, is there anything you can present or show to God that you are entitled to enter His kingdom or His heaven? Is there anything you can present to God? I have a claim to live with you forever in this place called heaven and to enjoy eternal life with you. Do you have something to show for that claim? Or you don't claim at all? You see, you need to know, you need to show something, you must have something to present to God for a claim. I'm a Christian, like people say, I'm a Christian. Are you a Christian? Yeah, I am. But do you have something to back up your claim? You say, do you believe in God? Yeah, but do you have something to back it up? It's easy to make a claim, but can you offer support to prove your claim? You know, we need to do this because the Bible admonishes us, the Bible instructs us to examine ourselves. Do you know that? Some people, I'm glad that you come to church. It doesn't matter whether you know why you come to church. It doesn't matter whether you believe in this Bible. Coming to church, that's good. That's good already. At least you put your, you walk in that door. There's something that could happen to you the moment you enter that door. I've been in church many times where I'm man, haven't seen much until one day. There was one day where things was different. So I don't know, every time you walk into that door, I don't know when is that day when you will see something, hear something that will change your life forever. I cannot tell. Only God can determine that. But it's good that you come because this could be the day. Who knows? This is what the Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5 and 6. Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Boy, you preach a lot of Sundays on this one verse. Examine yourselves. You see, a lot of people, they come to church, don't even bother to examine themselves. Some of them, they don't even bother to check whether they have the right kind of clothing coming to worship God. They just come. See, examine yourself whether you are in the faith. The faith here, the totality of faith, the things that are said in this word, in the Bible. Is your life within the parameters of this book? Are you living in accordance to the teachings of God? That's what Paul is saying. You see, this is what Paul says. Do you not realize that Christ is in you? Unless, of course, you fail the test. And I trust that you will discover that we have not failed the test. This is what the Apostle Paul is saying. He says, you need to examine yourself. And when you examine yourself, you test yourself. You know what happened? When you examine it, dissect a frog, you examine the product, then you test it, whether this is, what it is, depending what you're looking for. And then he said that unless what? You fail the test. And he said, you know what? I want you to examine ourselves. He encouraged the Christians, you need to test us also. And if you do that, you will discover that we have not failed the test. If someone will challenge you, let's examine your faith in God. Let's examine why you come to church. Whether you come in the right motive or things like that. Do you think you will fail? You will pass the test? Do you think so? Well, Paul says, before somebody challenges you, that test yourselves. Don't wait for somebody to examine you. You examine yourself. And Paul says, you know what? If you will examine us, you will find out that we passed the test. Oh, Paul was so courageous to tell others, hey, go ahead, examine us. Guess what you'll find? You'll find that we passed the test. What if somebody examines you? You think you will